We're following breaking news this morning. The Seahawks are officially up for sale now. The estate of Paul G. Allen just made the announcement about a half an hour ago. I want to check in now with Fox 13's Dan Griffin, joining us live outside the VMAC with more on what we know at this point. But we know one thing. It's going to be a pretty hefty profit hauled in by the Paul Allen estate here.
Well, absolutely, Bill, and good morning to you. You know, that was the first thing that I thought of when I heard the news. You know, we've been hearing kind of the talk, the chatter that this was going to happen, but now you wonder about what's that price point? How much are they going to get for this franchise here? We're told they've selected an investment bank as well as a law firm to kind of coordinate this as they go through this into the 2026 offseason here. But, man, when you consider what a season they had and the team and just the absolute experience that they have had in the season. It's just an incredible thing. And this is exactly what Paul Allen wanted. This is what the estate is directed to do, and then move all of the proceeds to philanthropy. And, you know, good works, that's really what the Seahawks have been all about. The entire reason we're here this morning is because we're following up here at the VMAC with little Antonio, who lost his ball. He's meeting with Josh Jobe this morning, the cornerback, to get a new ball here. So, you know, not a surprise they want to direct all of this to philanthropy, but now the question is what happens next and who is going to buy the team?
And that is the big question, Dan. Thank you. We'll continue to follow that angle live at the VMAC. Meantime, Ethan McReynolds is here this morning. And so what's your take on this? We kind of knew this was coming down the pike, so not a huge shock.
Yeah, ever since Jody Allen took over for Paul when he passed away, it was with the understanding that the team would eventually be sold. It's what Paul Allen wrote in his will. So this was always going to be coming down. It is interesting in the statement. It is noted that the sale process is going to go throughout the 2026 offseason. This is not going to be a speedy process. Also, no indication as to who could be a potential buyer. Yeah. That's the biggest part of the equation, right? How are we going to keep the Seattle Seahawks here in Seattle? I can't imagine Jody Allen has any intention of selling to anybody that has, you know, any prerogative to move them outside of the city.
Right. So, oh, yeah. I mean, that's the biggest fear right there. But considering they just won the Super Bowl and they're deep ties in the community, yes, that would be shocking. I'm also getting indications. I'm reading through Business Insider. There are some practical reasons to sell beyond the momentum of winning the championship. Business Insider reported a clause requiring 10% of sale proceeds to go to Washington State expired in May of 2024, potentially saving the estate over $1 billion on a transaction now valued between $9 to $11 billion. You think about a $200 million investment. That's what Paul Allen put forth to buy the team and to get the financing, half of the financing for that stadium. But a tidy profit there, $6.7 billion or so?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the sale is it's predicted to set a record for what an NFL franchise is going to be sold for. The initial ESPN report that came out a week before the Super Bowl estimated $6 to $7 billion. I believe the record is 6.05, the Washington Commanders, that was sold this past decade. And then after Adam Schefter putting out after that it could go for as much as $10 billion. So a lot of records are about to be set for the Seattle Seahawks whenever this process can come to a conclusion.
And this, you know, by the way, as you just alluded to, this will be the first sale of a controlling stake of an NFL franchise since private equity firms were allowed to buy stakes in teams in 2024. And that increases the numbers of potential bidders here because, you know, as we know, it costs a lot of money. Obviously, when you're talking, $8, $9 billion to buy a team, you want to get, as many investors together. So it's probably going to be an investment team that's getting involved like this.
Yeah, it's not going to come together tomorrow. I mean, when you're talking about multiple people coming together and pulling that amount of money, this is going to be a lengthy, drawn-out process. And yeah, we haven't really seen this before, so there isn't really too much of a historical indication of how long this is going to take in this modern time with all the context and everything. So, but you look at the franchise, the asset that is up for sale that is going to be bought. I mean, it is valuable, and what a time to sell. Right after the Super Bowl win, with the team sort of set up for sustained success with one of the, if not the youngest head coach in the entire league, and Mike McDonald, with this core group of young players. I mean, things are looking up for the Seahawks franchise, and that is going to be at the forefront of the conversation for any potential buyer.
Okay, we also are we hearing from Roger Goodell as well?
Yeah, Roger Goodell in the Super Bowl buildup was actually asked about the sale. So let's toss over to him to hear what he had to say.
Jody's doing a great job of managing the team. Bert's here. They've done a great job. They're in the Super Bowl. And I think from that standpoint, they've done a really important job in the context of the trust and the execution of that. But eventually the team will need to be sold in accordance with that. That'll be Jody's decision of when she does that. And we will be supportive of that.
So there you go. That's NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell prior to the Super Bowl. And this was rumored for a long time, but it is going to happen now. And this is a process that will linger on through the offseason, they indicate, but maybe even longer.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, Roger Goodell talking about the job that Jody Allen has done. You know, with an owner taking over with the context that she did with her brother passing, how involved she has been, but staying hands off at the same time.
Right.
Mike McDonald talked about her asking piercing questions, concise, to the point, making sure that they get to the most simple, direct answer. And that has really shaped the foundation or the direction that the Seahawks franchise has taken after Paul's passing. So, excellent. I mean, Jody Allen has gotten so much credit from the people up top, the job that she has done. That gives you a big indicator of how much she has meant to this franchise.
Yeah, a great steward to the franchise and the community, and leaving it in a great spot for whoever's going to take over next. Ethan, thanks.